Welcome friends to another character build for Baldurs Gate 3, as well as a modded class showcase. This episode we are creating the Chaos Sorceress of Tzeentch, as well as showcasing all 12 levels of the Asgorath Chaos Sorcerer subclass. Credits to the mod author Shavero for putting the time and effort to bring this class to life and also using some really amazing effects. To give a brief breakdown on what the subclass is all about, the Asgorath Chaos Sorcerer, inspired by the dragon deity of creation, is a subclass in Baldurs Gate 3 that embodies the essence of chaotic magic. Key features include seasonal chaos, cycling through various magical conditions, and spells to control your chaos via chaos points. So there's a huge emphasis on wild magic, and this literally is a colorful class. Now the highlight I want to focus on with this build is the seasonal chaos mechanic. It's a dynamic mechanic that cycles your character through various chaotic conditions with each spell class, each bringing its unique buffs and challenges. From the icy grip of Frostfarer's Reach to the electrifying surge of Electrostatic Link, seasonal chaos ensures that no two spells cast are ever the same. Embrace the unpredictable nature of your magic, adapt to the changing seasons, and turn the tides of battle in unexpected ways. So this is by far literally one of the most chaotic mechanics implemented in this game, and it is literally right up Tzeentch, the god of magic and just unpredictability from the Warhammer universe. Now, if the mod author or any new viewer stumbles only across this video, the way I'm going to structure it is going through all 12 levels only of this subclass alone, just as a way to showcase everything there is to offer, and also as a personal thank you to the mod author for putting their creativity into bringing this to life. And also I'm going to go into equipment and gear to lean into the strengths of this build or to complement the mechanics, and then later on wrapping up with a combat showcase and talking about some of the lore behind this character build idea. Hence the reason why I'm doing my best not to nerd out, because Tzeentch is one of my personal favorite chaos gods from Warhammer, with all the magic and also deception and complete unpredictability. It's pretty much the pure embodiment of chaos. And as always, I'm very much open to criticism and feedback in terms of my leveling choices for this character build, and also changes for lore purposes too. I know there may be some Warhammer viewers who will stumble across this video, and if you think that I need to make changes in spell or just general leveling choices to better fit the embodiment of Tzeentch, please do let me know the details in the comments below. I always love talking about the lore with everyone. At starting level, your race is going to be Dragonborn, and I am using a mod that allows us to choose a variety of different colored Dragonborn. I decided to pick up the Sapphire Dragonborn as it's the closest thing that looks to a Tzeentch influence character. For your breath attack, you're going to have Sonic Breath, which does 1d10 thunder damage, and also we gain the resistance to thunder damage. The Asgorath, the Chaos Sorcerer, does come with some unique spells and cantrips such as Chroma Darts, dealing 1d10 fire damage. Hurl out a Chroma Dart if it lands a critical hit or kills an entity or you suffering from its element. You will emit one more projectile, maximum of 2 additional projectiles per initial one. A little bit of crowd control there, which is really useful in battle. We also gain a variation of magic missiles called chromatic missiles. 6 to 15 force damage, allows you to choose what sort of missiles you want to cast. This is really good here too, because of the fact that it provides us a lot of versatility and also plans of attack, and also essentially makes it so like we don't essentially have any kind of weakness whatsoever. This subclass also comes with the Seasons of Chaos. Chaos cycles the casters through different chaotic seasons. Whenever a spell is cast, caster gets a different chaos season. For the cantrip choices, I decided to go with fire-based ones to represent the Fires of Change of Tzeentch, hence the reason why Firebolt, Create Bonfire, and Control Flames. These two will synergize incredibly well together, and Electric Arc has a little bit of crowd control with being able to arc to another opponent after hitting the first one. Spell choices here, you can choose whichever you want, but to match the trolling and also deceiving nature of Tzeentch, Earth Tremor, not just for the bludgeoning damage, but also being able to knock your enemies prone, as well as Grease, also being able to make your enemies slip and fall in combat, and opening up for additional follow-up attacks would be very devastating for them. For the background, go ahead and choose Acolyte, as well, Tzeentch does rely on a lot of his followers to be in the shadows and also making sneaky deeds and worship in his name. Skills you get are Insight and also Religion. For the ability output modifier, go ahead and put some points into Wisdom to increase your will save. Constitution at an okay +1 when you have it at 12, Dexterity respectable +2 when you have it at 14, and of course, being a sorcerer, you're going to put a lot of points into Charisma to max it out to 17. For your skill proficiencies, you'll be gaining Arcana, Religion, Insight, and Persuasiveness. At second level, we gain access to a spell choice, which you can choose whichever you want from here. I decided to go with the theme of it, with Chaos Bald, having that variety of different types of damage, and with the spell choice that you get here with the specific subclass, you do gain Chromatic Ray, which has 6-36 damage, but you can also, even though it does say fire damage, you can choose a different color of rays to fire, and also different damage types as well. So just a lot of good flavor purposes. Meta magic choices, I would personally pick up Extended Spell, which is a bit of a risk and reward because you are extending the duration of conditions for this class, which could be either positive or negative. Twin Spell, of course, we're going to pick that up for crowd control. At third level, the spell choice that I would pick up here for roleplay purposes would be Agonazar's Scorcher, 3d24 fire damage to fire flames in a line. This is pretty much kind of similar to the pink fire of Tzeentch from Total War Warhammer, if you want to roleplay it like that. For the meta magic choice, I would personally pick up Subtle Spell. Being able to cast spells while silenced, it's a good way to have that superiority, or keep that magical superiority in combat against other casters. Dismiss Current Chaos is another spell that we get here as a bonus action. Reject the current manifestation of Chaos Seasons. As you call upon this ability, the existing chaotic energies are dispelled for 2 rounds. So this is like a nice saving grace in case you do get a negative effect from casting. At 4th level, go ahead and choose whichever cantrip and spell you want here. Just to cover bases, I decided to pick up Ray of Frost. And for the spell choice for roleplay purposes, I decided to pick up Nethir's Mischief, fill a 6-meter cube with Fey and Draconic magic, producing random magical effects when the spell is cast and at the start of your turns. This is a really good way to not just roleplay the class, but then also to lean into the actual randomness and also have a leg up on your enemies in battle. For the meta magic, go ahead and choose Luck Control. Controlled Chaos is also a good choice here if you want to negate the effects of any negative backlash, but the guaranteed critical hit is very tempting. And for the feat choice, I would personally pick up Ability Improvement, putting 2 points into Charisma, and then eventually we'll get Charisma up to a very respectable 20 on the next feat choice. At level 5, the spell choice I would personally pick up here would be Counterspell, as an anti-mage spell to have with that superiority in battle. Subclass features we get are Chaos Step, try to swap places with a random entity, although this is a random chance, so it's not a guarantee that it'll work. Spell choice we get here is Chromatic Fireball, 8-48 damage overall. Even though, like I said before, it says fire, you do get an array of different colored fireballs, and also different damage outputs too, or damage types I should say. For the race specifics we get here, Gemflight manifests spectral wings, giving the ability to fly for 10 turns. And I would personally replace the spell Earth Tremor with Hold Person. Hold Person is going to pair well with that previous Mischief Circle that I picked up in the previous level. At level 6, my spell choice that I would pick up here would be Minute Meteors for that area of effect and also explosive damage. And the spell that we get here for the subclass is Invoke Asgorath's Control. Call upon the mighty Asgorath to stabilize the chaotic energies of your magic. For 2 rounds, the unpredictable effects of the Chaos Seasons are frozen, giving you a brief period of predictability and control in the midst of magical turmoil. Use this wisely to regain your footing or plan your next move in the ever-shifting landscape of chaotic magic. I really like that the more you level up, the more that you gain control of your chaotic magic, or some semblance from it. But bear in mind too, this does cost 3 chaos points, so like the mod author described here, you need to use this in battle or time it just right as well. Personally for me, I would use it late battle if things are looking a little dicey or coming down to the wire. At level 7, pick up Fire Shield as your spell choice, which dishes out 4 to 32 fire and cold damage and provides resistance to those elements too. This is really good for roleplay purposes as a way to say that this represents the barrier of Tzeentch, or essentially a shield that Tzeentch provides all of his units in Total War Warhammer, which is very powerful and tanky. Now, for the meta magic choice here, I would personally pick up Mighty Lightning Storm, or Controlled Chaos. You can choose from temporary chaos spells which don't have backlash when fired, and this applies to all of the different elements of chaos that you can unleash on the battlefield too. So again, more control, more predictability, and also less of a risk of getting those negative backlashes too. At level 8, the spell choice that I would pick up here would be Polymorph. Transform a creature into a harmless sheep for 5 turns, which is really up Tzeentch's alley in terms of trolling his enemies, and also just causing an insane amount of transmogrification, if that makes sense. For the feat, I would pick up Gift of the Gem Dragon, which is a modded feat, and it does allow us to raise our charisma by 1, maxing it out to 20, but also it gives us a reaction to deal force damage when an enemy does actually hit us in combat. So it's a good way for us to retaliate and also to keep our distance from them too. At level 9, go ahead and pick up whichever spell you want here. Doesn't really matter too much. You could justify it either way for roleplay, but the cantrip that you do gain here is Chromatic Chaos Blast. It does list it as 3 to 14 force damage, 2 beams of chaotic energies with the power of your mind, dealing 1d6 of a chosen element, chaining further 2 times for each 1d4 of the chosen element. I really like the chain attack here too, because of the fact that it's a nice little follow-up damage. At level 10, go ahead and choose whichever cantrip and spell you want here. Doesn't really matter too much for the cantrip choice, but for the spell choice, I decided to pick up Dominate Person, as really just having that mind control on the battlefield, or you could roleplay it as Tzeentch whispering into your enemies' minds to turn the tide and fight by a more victorious side, if you want to put it that way. For the meta magic, I decided to go with Distance Spell, increasing range of spells for 50%. Getting close to the final few levels here, at level 11, I would personally pick up Globe of Invulnerability, create a barrier that makes creatures and objects inside it immune to all damage. Really, again, right up Tzeentch's alley in terms of providing a shield or barrier for not just yourself, but your entire party and, well, entire army, I should say, if you are playing with a mod that increases the amount of party members that you can have on the battlefield. And at the final level 12, I would personally pick up Disintegrate. It's really a nice culmination of you reaching that highest level, and something that Tzeentch would grant upon his most devoted of followers too, to literally, like the spell name says, disintegrate and absolutely nuke a single opponent down to 0 hit points. Now for the feat, I would personally pick up Idle Hands. It is I know, a little metagamey, but it does grant us an additional bonus action, and also you can go ahead and choose whichever ability you want to add your point into. doesn't really matter too much. I'm just going to choose intelligent or dexterity for the purpose of this vid. Alright friends, when it comes to equipment and gear, it does seem very stereotypical with some of the choices here, but some of them are very much up the roleplay alley too. With the headpiece, we have Birthright, Charisma +2 up to 22, just increases our Charisma casting modifier, Cindermoth Cloak, Flaming Shroud, a creature that damages the wearer within 2 meters receives burning, so not only do we get a reaction to use force damage on our enemies, but also we do have a chance to light our enemies on fire. For the main piece here, Robe of Supreme Defenses, while concentrating, you add your spellcasting modifier to your saving throws and gain a +1 bonus to armor class, so gives us a little bit of survivability in battle, plus also the look of the robe looks very Tzeentchian when you add a blue dye to it. Spellmight Gloves, when casting a spell that requires an attack roll, you can take a -5 penalty to the attack roll to deal an additional 1d8 damage, so it's a nice little risk and reward there for us. Boots of Arcane Bolstering, Rapid Caster each time they dash. The caster gains Arcane Charge for 2 turns, adding a +2 bonus to damage with spells, and really synchronizing well with the Spellmight Gloves. For your necklace and also rings, Lofty Sorcerer's Amulet. The amulet taps deep into your magical bloodline to increase your sorcery points by 1, just adding a little bit of extra points so we can get more meta magic. Orphic Ring gives us the Confusion spell to grant us a little bit of buying time in battle, and also just like Tzeentch is all about, sowing more chaos. Spark Blocker from the Spark Wall Ring, wearer can't be electrocuted, and we gain resistance to lightning damage, just covering our bases in terms of actual spell resistance there. And also, for the main staff, of course we're going to pick up Staff of Spell Power, +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, but mainly I'm picking it up for Arcane Battery to relieve us of a spell slot in battle. Alright friends, that has been my class showcase of the Asgorath Chaos Sorcerer, and also my build for a Chaos Sorcerer of Tzeentch. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my leveling choices, and also let me know your thoughts on some of these wild magic effects too. This really does encompass everything there is to chaos magic, both in D&D and Warhammer as well. There's a lot of potential for this build, and quite frankly, you can have a lot of versatility with these attacks, as we're going to see with this combat showcase. And also, as always, thank you so much again to the mod author for putting a lot of time and effort to really implement these mechanics. And the thing is, there's a lot of time that's put into making sure that all of these different effects will randomly appear or synergize well, or even add some negative effects on the player too. There's now, as chaotic as it seems, this is pretty balanced when I had the chance to play it too. But also, regardless if you're a new viewer or a returning viewer, thank you so much for making it this far into the video. If you've loved what you've seen or also want to see more character builds for this channel, let me know in the comments what build requests you would love to see. And also, if you are a new viewer, I would love to have you join us on those adventures for character builds, whether it's for Baldurs Gate. I do plan on uploading some Dragon's Dogma content and also more narrative Warhammer videos in the future too. So remember to hit the like, subscribe, and bell icon notifications, and I'll save you a seat at the table for the next adventures. Take care and farewell.